Welcome to Automate All the Things. My name is Aron, and I'm here with none other than Yohei. Yohei, welcome back to Automate All the
Thank you,
Things.
Aaron. It's good to be back.
Yeah, repeat guests are rare. We keep that for the folks who most impressed us. And you did such an amazing job with the softer stream, and we learned so much. And it feels like you've switched now. You're an AI person, so I'm so excited to have you back to teach us blend those two things together with AI and no code. So for folks maybe who aren't regular Automate All the Things fans, Yohei, how about a quick introduction into you?
Yeah, hi. So I am a general partner at Untapped Capital, pre-seed venture fund, investing in unexpected founders in the US. So by day, I run a VC fund investing in early stage startups, generalists, so all sorts of industries.
Mm-hmm.
And at night, after I put my kids down, I like to build. So I've been building for years, from no code to Web3, and these days I've been building like crazy on top of these new AI models.
What I've been super impressed by you, hey, it always seems like you're 4 months ahead of what everyone kind of adopts. You know, you were a big fan of Softer before that blew up, built a bunch of cool, almost communities and stuff around Web3. And now it feels like 4 or 5 months ago, you've built 100 things on AI. So how about we start with like a few examples? Like what, I guess maybe first, like what brought you into this space? Like what was the impetus, and then what are some of the things you've built to give folks an example of what's possible?
Yeah, I actually started on the text to image side of things.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when GPT-3 originally came out and hearing about it and seeing some of the startups, and I tracked those, but I didn't start playing around then. I think it was closed.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the text to image. I first got an invite to Midjourney Discord,
Mm-hmm.
started playing around there, was impressed, and then got access to Dolly. I found myself liking Dolly more, so started playing around there a lot, which led me to GPT-3. I think being part of the Web3 community exposed
Mm-hmm.
me to Midjourney, right? Because there's an art overlap.
Right.
But then once I got into the Midjourney Dolly space, then there was the overlap with the AI people, which got me into GPT-3.
So I think a lot of those words are familiar to folks who are steeped in the industry like you are. But you said text to image and then Dolly or GPT. Maybe for someone who is like, I'm a no code person. I've never heard of any of these things. What are the categories and associated tools? And what are some examples of how folks can use them or how you're using them in like your day to day life?
Yeah, I mean, at a high level, what you're seeing and hearing about all fits under the bucket of large language models. Again, I don't
Right.
think you really need to understand what that means, but it's basically a big black box that's done a whole bunch of analysis on text, images, and can do surprising things.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about no code earlier. It's interesting. As I was talking to someone else, I actually, casually just said that large language models are the no code of AI.
Right.
In a sense, they're so powerful that they can be used for, the same model can be used to write code, to create images from
Mm-hmm.
text, to write poetry.
Right.
And so it allows people who are not developers, right, no coders, to start playing with AI, which I think is what's really powerful. The two most the two types that you hear most about today is one is text to image.
Mm-hmm.
You type something in you want, right? I want to see a dog in a clown suit riding a bicycle, and it
Right.
gives you that image. There's three large players in the space: Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and Dolly.
Got it.
There's a lot of offshoots and training and on top of that, but those are the names you'll probably hear the most. And then on the other side is kind of the text completion,
Mm-hmm.
text-based analysis. GPT-3 is the most powerful, I think, that's out there that people are playing with, where you could basically, say, write me a, poem about building with no code, and it will
Right.
write you a poem with, about no code.
We'll do that. We'll do that today.
You
I
do it.
feel like that's a cool.
That's a great start. We should do that as the first playground.
Okay, so essentially, what I'm hearing from you is that we have these two things we can do. We can write a prompt, generate an image, write a prompt, generate text, and both of those like are underlied by this idea that like you say something to this AI and it returns things, and it's like there's a bunch of things we can do. And what I'm excited about is that interacting with that AI is essentially no code, and that's what we're going to do today. Is like how do you actually implement using those tools, text to image, text prompt to text, I guess, in your kind of day-to-day workflow. So I would love to know in the chat, what are people's experience with open, like have you played with Dolly? Have you used the API? Let me know in the chat. And if you have suggestions of where you think you would use it, again, let us know in the chat. Yohei has built hundreds of tools for himself.
I can give a couple examples now.
Sure,
right?
yeah, go for it.
So at work, I use it for two purposes. One is to support portfolio companies, and you've probably heard of tools like Copy AI or Jarvis, which writes blog posts for you. And those tools are great. And if you want to start playing with AI, it actually might make sense if you just wanted to do writing, to use a tool that somebody's tweaked and built already on top of. So those are great tools, and I do think they're great. So we've built kind of versions of that for portfolio companies. We've also started building some tools internally to use as a venture capital fund to make us more efficient. So things like I connected a LinkedIn scraper to OpenAI, so I can give my CRM a LinkedIn URL, and it'll automatically write a whole bio for them.
Right. Got it.
Similarly, whenever I drop a website in our CRM, it scrapes the website. I feed that into OpenAI, which then writes a summary of what they do based on the website content.
That's actually.
We also did a deck parser. So this one's not live yet, but when a founder uploads their deck to our site to apply to us, we will parse their deck, pull out data, even send it and get some technical, get some risks, maybe even provide questions that VC might ask, and just feed that back to the founder automatically.
Got it. Okay, so a lot of the summarizing, but also outputting content. I'm very curious. I'm going to send you my website after this, and I want to know what it thinks of what I do, because maybe my copy is all off and it's completely wrong. So, so we have a bunch of folks in the chat, and keep sharing. So folks are interested in, how do you input words and output an image? And that's exactly what we're going to do. Sounds like folks like Miguel has experience with Dolly, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, Jarvis, DALL-E 2 even. We got Steven in the chat, Mix. So folks are interested in how you're scraping. So it feels like there's a lot of interest in jumping in here. So let me go ahead and share my browser here with you and everyone. And so Miguel also wants to know how to integrate into kind of your workflows and websites. So Yohei, I have an Airtable base where, imagine I have my blog post, but we have openai.com, we have Postman, we have Zapier. Where should we start to just give people an idea of what this is? How does it work?
We'll start in the playground, right? This is OpenAI's native playground. And before we dive in, I think, as no coders, right? What's beautiful is that it doesn't matter which tool we use.
Totally.
At Untapped, we run our whole fund on Airtable. Right. So everything I built for Untapped is basically, pulls out of Airtable and just plugs back into Airtable. That being said, for other tasks, like last night, I was talking about, I wanted to create draft emails directly from my task management. So I connected a specific folder in Todoist to Zapier to OpenAI back into Gmail. So again, once you kind of have the workflows and you start building these things, you can start automating all sorts of things based on whatever tools you're using.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So let's abstract the tool. It's all irrelevant. Spreadsheets, piece of paper, whatever. How could someone, I'm here on the playground, and how does someone understand how it works and what it does?
Let's do a couple examples. Let's just type in, write a poem about no code.
Okay.
And then do period, and then just see what it does.
Okay, I'm really curious about this. Oh, no code. Okay, so we don't care about the model. We don't care about any of that.
We'll ignore all those for now, right?
Let's just submit.
I want to start playing with it. And so what this is doing is it's basically, an airline thinking.
Okay, I'm really curious. Okay, I may not be a coder, but I've got no code power to build projects with ease and in an hour. No code lets me be creative. No coding skills required. Bring ideas to life in a way I desired. This actually rhymes. Wow. I can build a website or app without a line using no-code tools to make it shine. No-code is a great way to unlock my creativity. No code needed to be successful, and that's the key. Wow. I mean...
There you go. So, that's what it can do, right?
And yes, Colleen asks, is this why I'm seeing a lot of poems on my Twitter timeline?
Yes. So what's fascinating is that these models improve over time.
Right.
In the last few days, OpenAI's Text DaVinci is their strongest model.
Right.
Text DaVinci 002 is a version of the model that people were using. They upgraded to 003 in the last 2 days.
Right.
One of the biggest upgrades, especially for me, is that 003 can rhyme. 002 could not rhyme.
Wow.
So the reason you're seeing a lot of poetry in the last few days is because for the first time, the AI tool that everyone's using is able to rhyme. Now, if you want to do something fascinating, you can actually like have two historical figures that are, like rap battle.
Okay. Yeah. So someone mentioned 90s hip hop.
Pick
So
two people. You want to delete all the completion, including the green too.
okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
So let's say write a rap battle between. Just pick two people.
Who do I want to rap? This is a lot of pressure between
Genghis Khan and Julius Caesar.
Yeah, sure. And Julius Caesar. How about that? Am I writing this right? Caesar. Yeah, I think so. Okay, I'm very afraid that it's going to make me read this, and so let's submit that. Joe Biden. This is a politics-free stream.
And then we'll get into more practical use cases, but this is the fun stuff there. I mean, I don't think you even need to read all of it, but I mean, it's
very. I'll paste it in the chat. I'll paste it in the chat. And so I'm very afraid to read that. Okay, no, I can't. The formatting's all wrong. So Albert Camus. Okay, I did not.
I'll give you a fright. My lyrics come right. No need to put up a fight. Your raps are whack. I'll deliver this smack. My words will help you like a thundering crack.
It's awesome. It's very impressive.
Well, let's jump into like a productive use case.
Sure. Go ahead.
How about we'll just write a job description for a product manager, for a healthcare SaaS startup.
I'm really software as a service startup. I love this idea that like it's not only for blog posts. You're right that like it's a starting point for. It could be a starting point for so many different things, right? Oh wow! It even has this idea of like this is the H1, right? So
yeah, we can do headers as well if you wanted to.
I love how it's like you need 5 years of experience.
So I mean, if you're writing a job description, like realistically, almost all descriptions are pretty similar.
Absolutely.
And so this is what you're getting based on what we wrote. Now we can actually feed in feed in company descriptions if we want to. We can feed in more. We can add. We can say make sure you include that that we're built on top of AWS, and we'll like just seamlessly plug that in.
Make sure. So I just say make sure to mention that we're built on top of AWS. I think for a lot of folks,
and then if you want to delete everything after it,
I
think just as a little trick, I usually leave no trailing spaces or line breaks after, and it's kind of a weird way they calculate
like this.
Yeah, just end right there exactly. No trailing spaces, no. It shouldn't be a huge issue, but
so it's very interesting because I would not think of just like speaking to a computer, right?
Yeah.
See, knowledge of product development process, AWS, and agile technologies. Like I would not have written this because I would have assumed that like computer's not smart enough to know that like make sure is like actual words, right? Or that they.
I'll show you something that'll blow your mind. Let's just delete everything.
Yeah. Okay, one more.
Write a 1-page document. Using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that does the following: and then we're gonna actually give it a couple instructions just to show you that it can follow detailed instructions. So we'll just go to the next line and do like a bullet point or a little dash, and then let's say when a user clicks a button, the background turns black.
Whoa, this is crazy. This is wild.
And a red ball appears in the center.
I feel like all the Webflow people are like, this is my CSS is going to be so much easier to write now whenever I need to.
I'm not going to go too much into detail because I just realized we're not going to test it because then you have to like copy paste it somewhere else. But let's just run this.
Yeah. Okay, so the ball is centered. No, this is good JavaScript. Like make ball, click here, and then background color black, style display block. Like this is all correct. So
yeah, because the ball is hidden, right, in the original in the
yes,
CSS when it's created.
Yeah. So in a ball, so yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So right now, when I'm writing code, when I'm building things, if I have to write a little Zapier block or Airtable script, 95% of the code I write is written by Playground. And what's great is that the way I work, I build at night. But I have a lot of time to like think about ideas. Maybe I'm at lunch and I'm thinking about like, oh, how do I do it? I can actually just describe the code I want in the Playground,
Right.
have it write code, and then I just email that code to myself. So when I do have time to sit down, I just copy paste it and then like fix the code.
Okay. So I think folks have a good idea of how
Yep.
to incorporate, like, okay, we put a prompt, and really appreciate all these like these amazing examples of things I would have not absolutely not thought of. So how do I incorporate this into my workflow, right? So how would we start interacting with OpenAI from other tools where like our actual work, maybe our prompts live there, maybe our blog post, like how do I incorporate this into my workflow?
So OpenAI has an API, right? Which we can, I think
Yeah, I have it here.
posted, or yeah. So they have an API. Again, if you want to, read the docs, it's all there. It's laid out. There's a lot of things it can do. We're not going to go into everything OpenAI can do because that's a few hours in itself. But we're going to jump into connecting. So this is what the API looks like. You
Right.
you ping a specific URL. You send the prompt and the parameters. Again, we won't go into like what the parameters mean on this video. But you can kind of assign everything and you get the response back via API.
Okay, so essentially the making request is just a post call with our
Yep.
API and just a few parameters like the model, the prompt, temperature, and max tokens. And
Yep.
that's pretty much it. Do
And
you
those four are the kind of the main ones I think that are required. And then
right.
there's a lot of other ones that
Do
we won't go
you
into.
do you think it's easier to grasp if we start in Postman and then do the no code way? Or do you think we should start with like the no code way and then show Postman as like, the all the things you can do? And let me know in the chat if you have a preference. So we have both a Zapier way of interacting with this, but we also have the Postman way. So Yohei, what is your
Let's dive into Zapier, I think.
okay? Yeah,
Because I mean, if you're doing no code, you're pretty familiar. Like you're probably familiar with the fact that most of these integrations are Zapier connecting via API to each of these tools individually.
okay, so let's imagine that. Let me actually set this up a little bit. So let's imagine that we want to like write blog posts, right?
Yep.
So I don't know, like blog post 1 doesn't really matter, and then we'll have a prompt, right? Blog post 2. And what I guess I'll create, let me know if this makes sense. We'll have like a status, right? And for folks who are not Airtable users, you can go take my new course on Airtable. Just plug in that in. So we've got idea. And then when we switch it to, let's say, OpenAI draft, and then we have a draft, right? So when I move to OpenAI draft, I want it to go take the prompt, and then we have the response, like the draft. Right?
Blog post, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the draft, blog draft, yep.
So let's make
it
this
long. Make it long, probably, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do that. Let's make it very large. Okay, so let's do idea, draft, and then let's draft it. And let's say we want, I don't know.
I mean, let's make it topics. Like let's do one large language model.
Okay. What should be our prompt for the one that we're testing?
So just type in large language model here, and I'll show you why.
Okay.
And then we'll do another. Yeah, we'll just do large language model.
Okay. Cool. So that's it. And then we essentially want to say, okay, take this input, output a draft, and that's what we want to do. So,
and then this is a weird little trick. I don't know if it's 100% necessary, but I actually just set up a view always for in this situation, and set up a view that's filtered by the status.
Okay, so this would be drafting. Yeah, OpenAI drafting. One second, let me close that. Open.
The reason I always set this up, you'll see in a second when we jump into Zapier. But we want to filter it so it automatically shows only the OpenAI draft.
Yeah. Okay. Status is OpenAI draft. Perfect.
Basically, if it shows up in this view, that means it's ready to be drafted.
Got it. Okay.
So we'll jump into Zapier.
So let me actually remove it, and then we'll update it.
Well, we need a test. We need one to sit there
right.
to set it up because we need to test it. So we'll just cool. This will be our first. We'll run through the whole. We'll create a blog post about that.
Okay. So yeah, let's create a new Zap. This is gonna be fun because I don't use Zapier that much anymore. So you're gonna walk me through. Yeah, I'm an Airtable automations person personally. So
you'll do app event. We'll start with Airtable.
Yeah. Latest. And then I want
New record.
Yeah. All right. I need to actually sign in. Wait, let me do that now. Okay. Let me hide this from you guys. I think I have my API key. Shout out to Yohei for giving me access to his Zapier account. Okay. Let's continue. Cool. All right. The base, it is no code X AI. Perfect. Table is going to be blog posts. And we do want to limit it to the view. That's what you're saying.
Yep. That's why I like this, because if you don't do the view, then you have to add a filtering step afterwards.
Oh, smart.
But if you do it by the view, you're letting Airtable do the filtering for you.
Got it. Okay, so let's continue here, and it should return a record, that one open language AI model. Okay, let's see what that record is. Yeah, perfect.
Large language model.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So
continue. And then now we'll jump into OpenAI.
Okay.
Let's use the OpenAI no code 1.1.
Okay.
This is OpenAI does not have an official Zapier integration, so I built one. It's not a public integration because I am not affiliated with OpenAI, and Zapier won't let me publish it as an official one.
Right.
But there is a public link that anybody can go and start using.
Okay. If you could, well, yeah, if you can drop it in our chat or drop it in the chat when you get a moment. Doesn't have to be right now. We'll let folks play around with it. So yeah, so Yohei built, and from everyone in no code, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I'm officially the no code OpenAI unofficial liaison.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. And so we want to send prompt, right?
Send prompt, yep.
Okay, I have an account set up. I'm guessing it's number 6.
Probably the last one that we set up is probably the one that you want to use because we.
Okay. Awesome. Set up action. Let's go Zapier. Oh, did it break?
Yeah.
Did we break it? No, we're good. Okay, cool.
Cool. So for the model, if you just it should be a drop down. The top one is the most powerful, so we'll use that one.
Okay. Prompt.
The prompt. So here's why we only put large language model there. So I want you to type in to the prompt first.
Okay.
Before you start the variable.
Okay.
So click the field itself.
Yep, I'm there.
Now you're in the switch field. So you want to do the field above. Enter text or insert data.
Right here. I see. Insert. Okay. Yeah. So.
Write a long and detailed blog post about. I would say make it an instruction because it's actually pretty good at
Write. Okay, so sorry, I forgot. I totally forgot. Write a long. Oh, so you're essentially saying no matter what the prompt is, you want to put in like a little bit of things before, so it's nicely understanding.
The way I build it, like a lot of the prompt engineering, right? How do you want to like ask it to write a blog post? I don't want to have to retype that each time. Right. I want a magical tool where I can just type in large language model and I get a blog post about it.
Yeah, totally.
I can type in Pirates of the Caribbean and I'll get a blog post about it. So that's why I put the engineering in the actual flow itself, so I don't have to retype this part.
Fantastic.
And then you can pick prompt.
Right. Okay.
And then they put a period.
Right.
Just to end it. And then we won't go too crazy. We'll just start here. There's a lot more you can do to like improve on it. The one thing I might increase is the maximum length.
Yeah.
Just make it like 500 or 1,000, I guess. I mean.
And this is characters. This is a characters, right?
So technically, it's not characters. The way OpenAI counts things is called tokens, and it's almost like syllables. It's like chunks of characters.
Okay, got it.
So 1,000 is actually a lot more than 1,000 characters. I'm guessing it's more like 4,000 or 5,000 characters.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So it's interesting. I could also kind of control the length, and I imagine that's how you do like tweet length. Right.
Yeah, you can even minimize it, tweet length. Yeah.
Like, do you write?
And I just know from experience that if I write long and detailed, the result will end up being more longer and more detailed than if I just write a blog post.
And let's say I want to write a tweet. Do I say write a tweet about, or do I write a witty, blurb, and then I limit the maximum length? How do you think about that?
I would craft it in the prompt. I would say write a witty tweet under 200 characters about X.
Okay, got it. Okay, perfect.
And then I would make the maximum length lower, but yeah,
that makes sense.
Let's continue. And that's basically it. This will give you the blog post. It should.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna
And so
copy.
it takes 30 seconds to a minute, maybe. When we do it in the playground, you see it typing it out.
Oh, I
What's
see.
happening here is it's happening in the background, and you get it as one big chunk. Versus when you're in the playground, you get to see.
Right.
So
So
if it's crafted tweet, the response is faster. If it's write a long and detailed blog post, it takes a little bit longer for it to come back.
right. And I just dropped a link in the chat. So if folks want to kind of, have it, this action, right? Oh, so just go ahead and kind of connect your Zapier account. So this is our blog post. So in recent years, NLP has become increasingly important field due to the increased need. Wow. Yeah, this is something. It even like uses examples. That's amazing. Okay. And it used 12 tokens.
The prompt token. So the actual prompt was only 12 tokens, and the completion in this case is 532 tokens.
Okay. And
it's a total of 544 tokens.
Before we get the question, like what is the pricing, for these types of prompts? I have it up here. So text, DaVinci is what we have.
We're using DaVinci.
So 2 cents per 1,000 tokens.
1,000 tokens. So what we just did, that blog post was about 1 cent.
Oof. I don't know if I can afford it, Yohei.
That feels like you're gonna have to pay me back for using mine. Oh no, we're using yours.
Oh, we're using mine. So I think everyone's got to pitch in a tenth of a cent, and we'll get to our 1 cent.
We'll get you.
Okay, so let's bring this back in
Airtable.
Yeah. So let's go back into Airtable.
Right. And then update row.
And then update record. Yeah.
Record.
Choose an account. Isman, I will expense it. Who do I expense it to? I am the owner of Automate All the Things, so I'm not sure who do I expense to. Can I send you a bill? Okay, so this is taking a little bit of time here, but we're essentially trying to get the draft in here, and then the idea is that we can just write a prompt, switch it to OpenAI draft, and then receive the draft here.
Yeah, once that's set up, we'll test that. Yeah, it's a little bit weird how it's being slow.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I think it might be me, though. It might just be my Wi-Fi that's a little slow. I guess let's try to delete this, maybe? This is definitely...
I think everyone's watching this live stream and jumping into Zapier and slowing it down.
I wish. Okay, let's try that again. Let's go back to Airtable. Okay, let's update a record. Continue. Let's go Airtable. Set up action. Huh. This is, there we go. Okay, yeah. So we're going back to the...
No code XAI.
No code X.
I think you didn't have a dash after no code.
Oh.
Written in no code.
Ah! There we go. Sorry about that. We want the blog post table.
And then for record, what you're going to do is pick custom.
Yeah.
And then choose the ID from the new record.
Right. So, okay. So essentially we're saying the record, we already have the ID from step 1. So we're going to input that. We don't need a search step. And then we want to update draft, right?
Yep. And then we'll get the output.
And then, yeah, right here. Okay, cool. So let's continue. And let's go test the action.
Let's see if the formatting went through. Sometimes I'll put in a formatting step if I want to display it on a website. I can do
Oh, I see. Let me see what it looks like. Okay.
Let's see what it looks like first.
Oh no, it looks fine.
It looks fine. So if I'm using an email, I do this. If I was building on software, for example, and I wanted it to have HTML tags and whatnot, or
right,
somewhere else, I could use a formatting step in the Zap. But in this case, we don't need that.
Okay, perfect.
So we can publish this.
Publish this.
And that's it. I mean, we just built a no-code AI tool that auto-drafts blog posts. And probably
that was only 15 minutes. We have 25 more minutes. I think we're just gonna do prompts for the rest of the stream. We're just gonna have fun with it. No, I'm joking. I want to test it out. I want to make sure that it works.
Yeah, let's test it out. I mean, we can talk about go in any direction we want. We could build another tool, or we could talk about just like how do we improve this tool.
Absolutely. Okay, so what is our next prompt?
Zap is live. I don't know. We can pick anything we want.
Oh, I have a good one. What is better between Zapier Integromat? I feel like that is the perennial question. Okay, so write a long and detailed blog post about what is.
We did the following topic with a colon, right? So this should be fine.
Okay, let's give that a try. So let me just make sure my Zap is on. So I would love to know in the chat whether people feel like Integromat or Zapier is going to get the better. Which does GPT-3 think is better? Spelling. What is better between Zapier and Integromat? That feels like Integromat. Oops, there we go. Nice, thank you. Someone caught that. What is better between Zapier and Integromat? Okay, let's give it a try. OpenAI draft.
So, and then I think Zapier. So Zapier has a couple different types of integrations. Some of them is immediate, as in like
we can just run it.
Some of them is basically it just checks it every like 2 minutes.
Yeah, let's just run it. That way we know.
Oh, that's probably.
Let's go here.
Can you just force run it?
Yeah, you can just go run.
Oh. Okay, wow, so... how do I not know this? Just wait 2 minutes.
Yeah. Man. Okay, yeah, so it's triggering. So I'm happy that everyone learned something.
Thank you for teaching me that.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. I know it's very impressive to know all the buttons in Zapier.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what it looks like. Okay, it's still, I think it's going to tell us when it's done.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll if I have a long Zap that has a whole bunch of playground, I'll just go into it and look at it. But there we go.
Okay. And folks, if folks have questions for Yohei, we can do the API after, but let's go ahead and check this out. All right. Okay. Are two popular names, but which is the better option for your business? This is a difficult question. Is a powerful automation tool is more comprehensive? It's actually true.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Complex workflows, hundreds of different services, offers great, man, this is better than what I would write. And this is very scary to me.
Income subsiding. There's no one size fits all.
Bet is right for you to evaluate budget and then compare. So I would say that Zapier is not the low cost solution.
Yeah, that one might be a little off. But
still, just I would just change this, right? High cost solution, and then so I'm super impressed. This is some confetti stuff. I think we should celebrate that we're using AI in our build. So
there we go. We're building no-code AI tools already. And if you look at it, you can see that there's a couple enters. If you want to clean that up, Zapier has a trim white space formatter. So you don't even have to you can just push it through a text formatter if you want to add HTML tags.
So there's so much we can do. So I do want to do the image, but before, Colleen has a great question, which is, can it see what is better between Zapier and Make, right? So out of personal interest, I'm also interested in how would it
do it as the next one in because we haven't
yeah, absolutely. So
because we haven't changed the status yet. Yeah
you're right, it's not going to trigger on the same.
Just for kind of going a step further, if you're going to start really playing with AI, I think it's I think you want to keep, you don't want to edit the output necessarily. You want to make a copy, because I do think there's benefit to tracking what was the prompt and what was the completion.
Right. So you're saying keep it here.
You probably want to at least keep the prompt so you know what you've asked it before and you can get a sense of.
Right. I see what you mean.
Reflect back and say oh, how did it?
Yeah. So you are essentially saying have a edited draft, maybe. So you always have the raw. I would call this raw response. Yeah, and maybe we just push the same into both. And then you would just edit the edited draft.
Right. Again,
that makes a lot of sense.
Not necessary at all, but I'm a data geek, so I like to know.
That makes total sense. I think beyond the Zapier, I think what I hope people take away is more the thinking behind how to create the prompts and how to leverage the actual ability of AI, more so than being let's create a bunch of prompts and then edit out the information. So, okay, OpenAI draft. Then we're going to do this nifty trick that I just taught you, which is just run Zap. Right.
And you joke that we should just do prompts for the rest of the time, but realistically, once you're this far in the space, really the trick is, I think, the prompting. So it might be interesting to do a couple of practice, just a couple of prompts that I think might be helpful.
There was some requests at the beginning for images. Could we do one?
Oh,
Let's do
let's
one.
let's add an image. Yeah, let's add an image
Okay.
and add as an attachment. There's going to be 2 steps that we need to add for that. So
Okay.
that's
So let's imagine that while that's running, let's go ahead and build this. So we're saying
yeah.
image prompt, which is a single line text, I guess, or even
No,
a
actually,
long
here's
text.
what we're gonna do.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's just do an attachment for image.
Okay.
I'm gonna automatically generate the image prompt from the blog post.
Okay. Oh, so you're going to input the blog post to output the image?
Yeah, I'm gonna input the blog post to output a prompt,
Oh, wow.
and then we'll send that prompt into DALL-E.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
We'll have a. I guess we do need an image prompt symbol because we'll store it there.
Oh, I see. Just to store it. So image prompt.
Yeah.
And then single line text. Perfect. Okay. So let me just make sure I understand. You're going to take the raw response.
Yep.
You're going to have it summarized by GPT-3. That's going to generate a prompt. We're going to then mark that prompt and then send it to GPT-3 again to get the blog post image.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So what we'll do, we'll go into Edit tab.
Yeah, let's just click.
And then what I do, let's add it as a step after the update instead of trying to squeeze it in before. The reason I like to do that is that when something breaks during the flow, I like to just have Airtable update so I know where it broke.
Okay, so we're saying here, go to Yohei.
To OpenAI.
How do you feel that we can search your name and we actually get like an
purpose? I didn't have to put my name in the OpenAI.
I love
innovation.
it.
I was like, I want everyone to see my name. I want them to thank me every time they're using it.
I'm putting that as like life goals. If you can just search AATT and it comes back, that'd be amazing.
Send prompt.
Okay, so send prompt.
Yep.
Okay, so we're back with our Yohei. Here we go. Okay, so model.
I just use DaVinci. Again, I'm not building scalable products, so saving half a cent doesn't matter to me. So we'll write a descriptive prompt, send to DALL-E for image generation based on the following blog post.
This is scary to me.
And then just drop in the blog post, and I'll do a little trick that I often do. I don't know 100% if it's necessary, but after you do the blog post, do period.
Yeah.
And then I do space, and I just write prompt in caps.
Okay.
With a colon at the end. I think it just makes it super clear. Like it just kind of like reinforces that that's what I'm looking for as a response.
Right here at the end. So after the whole thing, prompt. Yeah. Okay.
And again, like this is, I don't think it's necessary. I think 256 is way longer than we need, so that's fine.
Okay.
You can keep that as is. It can be probably be shorter, but
okay, let's give it a try. Continue. So this is one about NLP. So let's see what image it returns. No, what prompt it returns.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, generate an image depicting a large language model being used for natural language processing tasks such as machine translation, text classification, question answering. Wow.
Let's try it.
Okay.
Let's send it to DALL-E.
This is crazy.
And so we'll do another OpenAI.
We get to write your name again.
Yohei.
And then image generation.
Image. Yep.
Okay, let's go here. I've rarely felt this empowered.
And then we'll pick that prompt.
And then, okay.
And then we should test the blog post. That's gonna have a much more like expected image.
Yeah, right. So size, that's all good. 256. Let's make it. Can we make it a little larger?
We can make it the biggest one. Yeah.
Just so it'll rent. Let's make 19. Yeah. Can I make it custom size? No, it's a drop down.
No, there's three specific sizes.
Okay, so are we testing? We're ready. Boom.
Yeah, that's right. And so there is a little bit of a finicky. We can't just take the output here, so we're gonna have to do a webhook on it, because it gives you a URL for the destination actually.
So it goes here. This is the. Oh, I see what you mean. So you're saying that this is the.
Yeah. So if you try just plug it into the browser and see, let's look at the image. All right.
Okay. Not good.
Not great, but you know what? Let's just go with it.
Okay.
And we'll.
So essentially, this actually, it's okay. We'll make a better one. We'll make a better one in a moment. But why can't we put this URL into the Airtable attachment field?
This actually expires.
But Airtable will render it. Do you mind if we give it a try? Have you tried it?
You can give it a try. Oh, actually, I see what I mean. Actually, you're right. I forgot that you can do that.
I think you can just
Well,
input.
maybe you might have just saved me a step again.
See, this is why you come to the stream.
That's
Update
true.
record. Let's see if it works.
I mean, you talk to so many people building stuff like this. I'm sure you have tons of little tricks and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just when you get
Right.
annoyed
You can
enough.
just give it a URL, and it'll save it, but it'll save it as an Airtable URL, right?
Always, yes. Yes.
Oh, that's great. Okay, yeah. So that should work.
Let's see. Wait. No, this is no code map. I want AI. No code AI. There we go. Cool. Okay, this should be blog posts. The record's going to be from step 1. And then the image prompt. No, we want blog post image. We want to take the output of the image and then just the URL.
Yeah, and then we can store the image prompt too while we're at it because.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're totally right. Image prompt. There we go. Okay. So
again, for now, we're just kind of setting up the piping, but if you're, you can obviously set up the image generation as a separate step. So you could just have the image prompt auto-generated, but then have another kind of status column that you decide to ship it.
Yeah. So this seems to be working. So it's there we go. And yeah, you have your okay. So let's.
This one didn't work as great, but
okay. So let's try this one. When it let's try this.
Just start from scratch. Just
okay,
hit another row. Yeah, because that way we can run through the whole.
Okay. So what is our prompt? Prompt master, tell us.
I mean, let's talk about why whales are awesome.
And folks, feel free to try some in the chat.
I think Wales has an H after W.
Oh right, not the. I'm curious. Okay, yeah.
Wales is probably
the country. Yeah.
Anybody from Wales?
Yeah. If any. Okay, so that's actually all we need. We don't need anything else. It should generate all of it. So let's do OpenAI draft.
And just press run.
Right. Let's publish the Zap. Oh. Maybe we have to rerun it there. Let's go back into idea here. And then let's publish it. So if folks have prompts they want us to try, drop them in the chat and we'll spend a few minutes at the end. And maybe we'll do a follow-up stream eventually about how to use the actual API for the geeky folks. Okay. So it's published. Who will win the World Cup and why? That's a good one. Let's try that after. Okay, so we have it here. Let's go into OpenAI draft. Let's go and run. Okay, and while that is running, let's actually set up the next one, which is who will win the World Cup and why. Okay, and this one is just going to be idea. So triggering on one new record. Now's a good time while we wait to drop some in the chat. What would you say are your best tips for writing good prompts?
I mean, I just try it a lot. Just try writing a whole bunch of stuff, seeing what it can do, and then I mean, Twitter is where I've learned a lot. There's a couple of good people that tweet a lot of interesting prompt ideas, hacks, and whatnot. So I've learned a lot from just watching other people's experiments and kind of getting plugged into the community.
Yeah, totally. So actually Colleen shared a newsletter with me that sends you a prompt every day with the output. Cool. So, okay, we have it here. So let's see what this looks like. Let me expand the record. So we have this amazing blog post. So first, second, third, finally, this is a very academic style text. In short, whales are awesome. They are huge, intelligent, and have long and fascinating history. They are also incredible, important to their environment. Very impressive. Okay. Wow.
There you go. Right. So if it's an expected image,
that is amazing.
Whales is obviously going to do better. So if we were going to productize this, we probably want to do some little tweaking if it's not if it's not a clear object rewrite or something like that.
I feel like this is a confetti. I'm very impressed with what we've done in 30 minutes.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's an auto blog post generator. I have so many different versions of this that I built. Right. So I have I can describe an email I need to draft
Right.
in my task management, and it'll go through a similar flow, and it'll draft an email in Gmail. I have a kids storybook writer where
Right.
my where my kids can just tell me what they want to hear a story about. So they can say, I want to hear a story about a unicorn looking for rainbow ice cream, and then they get attacked by ninjas. And
Right.
then I can have it auto generate images and stories for them based on that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I'd love to know in the chat if hopefully the last 45 minutes kind of gave you ideas. Let us know in the chat. So let's do this one more prompt. And if folks have questions for Yohei, drop them in the chat. We're going to spend, just a couple more minutes here making sure that
I have
you
a quick
feel.
plug too.
Sure, go for it.
If you go to yohei.me, I set this up this past weekend. It's my new build in public blog.
Amazing.
It's all the stuff I built with filters on the side. So you can see tools that are public that anybody can use, or see private that I use internally, but more so under the tutorials filter on the left.
Yeah.
If you click on like live stream or video or template, you can quickly filter by, industry that my project is in.
Amazing.
Tutorial templates. All my Zapier stuff is under public.
So I think we should have our stream here. Just going to put that out there, and I just want to.
I will put it there. It's not. I didn't have a link yet.
So
I guess I do now.
I love the fact that you have like 4 projects in 4 days. So I just like to.
I mean, again, like it took us 15 minutes while I was explaining it to you.
You're totally right.
If I was doing it myself, I can do it in 5 minutes.
You're right.
So if I have like, I wish I could automate this, it does. It takes me 5 to 10 minutes to do it, which is why I can do 3 projects in a night.
And what is this built on? What is this website built on?
This is on Software, Airtable.
Nice.
Yep.
I knew that you were the right guest. Just so there's some questions in the chat. So Daniel asks, is there a difference between using a service like Jasper versus GPT-3 natively other than the interface? Do tools built on top of AI models kind of lead to a better output? So it's gonna bring you here. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I haven't played with Jasper. I have played with Copy AI. I think there are things like if I'm using it to write, it is helpful to be able to, let's say, instead of writing a blog post at once, Copy AI will write an outline for you.
Right.
And then it gives you a drag and drop interface where you can reorder, you can edit the outline, and then send that outline into it, and then it spits out a blog post. So there are user like UI that you might personally want,
right?
If you're trying for whatever your purpose is. I do think the benefit of tools like Jasper or Copy, or we're going to see tons in every vertical, is that if somebody thinks through that specific use case and builds a UI that's tailored to that, that's probably going to be a lower lift to start leveraging AI than to build it yourself from scratch directly with OpenAI.
Absolutely. Okay, so there is the output.
Yeah.
You're saying might be more in the form than the actual, like they're not improving the model, not so much. It's more of like how it fits into your workflow and things like that.
Yeah, although technically I think today I saw that Jasper partnered with some large language, large machine learning group, and maybe starting to train their own model. I think there is potential. I think for some tools, as a startup, large language models, again, they're like the no code of AI. It's the best place to start because it's so fast. But if you're building if you're trying to build a big company, to build defensibility, you may need to end up training your own model. But I think that's still up in the air.
Right. Okay. And that's we'll see whether it's better to use if it's just a workflow question, or if it's like the actual output is better and they just kind of increase. So we'll look to you to know if that's the case. So there's a lot of questions. Keep them coming. We have like a good amount of time here. So Steven wants to know, can you share what goes into the kids books generator?
I mean, it's basically a it'll take us 2 minutes to just turn this blog post into a kids one. You want to jump into the Zap?
Yeah, so let's go back into Zap and let's go here. By the way, I want to come back to the.
Who's gonna win?
However, some teams, they just says Germany, Brazil, France, and Spain are favored, but yeah, there's no predictions there.
Fair.
Okay, so boo. Okay, let's go into our Zap. Let's go into here. You're saying, let me edit this up.
Yeah, we're just gonna edit a few words. I mean, honestly, the easiest would just be to change blog post. No, don't even delete all of it. Just change blog post into children's story.
Children's story.
And if you want to, I tend to really like the word illustrative. I think it comes, so I would do long and illustrative children's story. And I don't know why. I've tried a lot of words. I feel like the output of the word illustrative, I feel like works well for kids' books. But that's it.
From hearing you speak, I feel like it's important to like play a lot to figure out what words work well and what outputs, the types of, the types of, I guess, outputs that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
absolutely, trying different adjectives is great.
okay, so let's save this.
Yeah.
Continue. I don't want to test it. Oh, skip test. Okay, let's publish. Oh, it's got versioning now. Look at Zapier.
Yeah.
Versioning is pretty cool. Let's say a bear, a magical bear meets.
Learning no code.
No. Let's make it. I know this theory. Magical bear that discovers a castle in the Canadian woods. 1 second. I gotta get to the end here. Castle in the Canadian woods in the Great North. Okay, I made it very serious. Magical bear that discovers a castle in the Canadian woods in the Great North. Okay.
I'm going to change the OpenAI draft and let it run.
Okay.
I just see the picture out of this one too.
Yeah, I agree. How's that, Stephen? Okay, so while that's let me just run it, and then while that's rendering, we're going to take a few more questions.
Yeah.
So Robert asks, can AI understand qualitative words? If you said to show me a beautiful car, would it understand? Yes.
If you type in beautiful car versus car, you'll get different results. So if you write elegant car or
yeah.
So epic, you'll see epic lighting backgrounds. Like it, not just the car, but like the surrounding of the car will change based on like the words.
Okay, so so we should have the first story. Okay, once upon a time, there was a magical bear who lived deep in the Canadian woods of the Great North. He had lived there for many years, content with his peaceful life, until one day he noticed something strange. On the horizon, he could see a tall tower rising up from the earth and reaching into the sky. I'm just going to read the last one here. So the magical bear stayed in the castle for many years, watching over the animals and protecting them from harm. He was content and happy, knowing that he had made the world a better place. That's amazing. I want to see the image. Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
That's pretty amazing.
That is amazing. That's a confetti right there again. That's incredible.
And then one of the tutorials, I think I have templates for it. I've also connected this to Siri using Apple shortcuts.
Right.
So I have an app where if I tap it, it will just generate a story and start reading it from my phone. And it's already tailored to my kids, the stuff my kids like.
Are you?
I can have my phone read stories for my kids on the fly that are just new every time.
Are you automating parenting? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just trying to figure out what I can do with it.
Super impressive. Okay, there's a few more questions here. So there's a question of what are the inputs to the language models? Is it just publicly available information? Like, where are they getting the text that generates this stuff?
There's a lot of data sets that are public. OpenAI is pretty open about it, but it's basically as much of the public web as possible.
Got it.
Plus more, right? There's other data sets being collected and generated, but yeah, I mean, you name it. If it's on Wikipedia, like GPT-3 can tell you about it. If it's on science textbooks, everything that's public basically, plus maybe more. Perfect.
Another question from Daniel. Do you think AI, let me just move to like our normal. Do you think AI can be used to mimic humans in a way to predict how they would react to a certain product? Like, is this copy good? Can I like use AI to know whether what I'm writing myself is good?
Yes, it can. So like whether you want to trust the output, what GPT-3 is good at is sounding human. Is what it's really good at.
Right.
And in sounding human, it's because it's analyzing so much writing. A lot of what it says is going to be true.
Right.
Also, if you ask it a question where there's no right answer and you don't specifically ask it to decide whether there's not a wrong or right answer, it'll give you an answer that sounds convincing.
Right.
If you say who won the World Cup in 2030, it might give you an answer, I mean, maybe not that one, but it might give you an answer versus if you say who won the World Cup in 2030, answer that it has not happened if it has not happened yet.
Right.
Then it'll say it hasn't happened yet. So again, like there is, yeah,
It
can definitely do it, but whether you want to trust it fully is up to you.
Right. And I think that's actually a really good place to end. So we've learned a lot about what's possible with AI. And now it's off to everyone to know whether they could trust it. So in that conversation,
OpenAI can be, hold on, I have one thing. OpenAI can be used for predictions, probabilities.
Yes.
Yes. You can use one of the lower ones, but I will also plug just because they're great. Obviously, AI is a no-code AI tool that's built specifically for predictions and probabilities that we are an investor in.
Right. What is that tool called?
Obviously AI.
Obviously
.ai, and they have a Zapier plugin. So you can plug it into a spreadsheet, an Airtable, a backend database, pick a column you want to predict, and then you can set it up so that if anything, if a prediction lands as X, then kick off this zap. So if you're doing predictions, I will absolutely plug them.
Absolutely. So but it's interesting because it's things like CRMs, like will this deal close based on the, and things like that. So that's awesome. Well, Yohei, I will end here and just let folks know where they can keep following you and learning more about AI and no code.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter's probably the best place. I tweet a lot of my projects. It's at Yohei Nakajima. And then, my build in public log, I update pretty regularly with all the stuff I'm building. So you can always check in there.
Fantastic. So I'm going to drop that link to Yohei's Twitter. Well, Yohei, this was a true pleasure. Thank you so much for coming back to AATT.
Of course.
And we'll see you on Twitter.
All right. See you around.
All right. Thanks, everyone. I will see you back next week where we're going to be talking about Stripe pricing tables. So thank you, Daniel, Robert, Var, Penny, Steven, Robert Isman. Thank you so much all for coming. I will see you back next week. Yohei, one more time. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Cheers.